Hi, my name's Dave Pullen. I'd like to welcome you to Portland Film Beat. Tonight, my guest is Scott Rogers. He's been an acting coach for over 30 years, and he's got this really great, exciting background. We're going to talk about a lot of that at the end. But first, I'd like to talk about his studio and let you get to know all about his acting technique. Scott, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Okay, so you first started in Los Angeles, right?
Yeah. As far as in the industry, yeah.
Okay, and what got you into being an acting coach?
It was a weird, twisted road. My dad was a theater producer across the country, very prolific theater producer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, equity shows, like 500, more than 500, and all around the country.
So you grew up into theater and around acting.
So yeah, I grew up working backstage, running follow spot, stage managing, whatever I could do, and did that. Yeah, all my formative years, and then from stage managing, got into directing, which was natural, and then from there got into acting coaching because I really found that was my niche. So.
Okay, how long did you have a studio in L.A.?
In LA for probably about studio of my own, probably about 8 years.
Right, and then you moved to Hawaii.
And then I moved to Hawaii.
Okay, why move to Hawaii from LA?
Well, if you want the truth, I think they do in the control room.
They do. The producer does.
I left. My last home in LA was in Venice Beach, and I was in Venice for a long time in several different houses.
Is that back in the 70s?
That was, well, no, but it goes back pretty far.
Okay. All right, we won't ask. we don't want to date you.
We don't have to go there. But I was there for a long time. But in the late 80s, early 90s, I was in my last house there, and my son was. My fully grown now 26-year-old son, he was 3 or so years old, and I found a hypodermic needle, and it was
Venice Beach was a lot rougher back then.
It was really rough, and we were in a nice area. That was the thing. We were in a really nice area,
yeah.
but it still was just a little too close. And
so you moved to raise your family,
I moved
for family reasons.
Not basically, yeah, exactly. Moved to raise my family. We went to Maui. Fortunately, there was a theater there that had just been built, big 1,400-seat, concert hall, and so went there and did shows, and then stayed on Maui for about 3 years, and then moved to Oahu.
Right. You also got to be an acting coach for a TV show there, though, correct?
On Oahu, yeah. I was for a couple of TV shows. I was on for Baywatch.
So it was actually kind of exciting that it was a great move.
It worked out great. It worked out great because we didn't move for that. I mean,
right, but that was
the
was
gravy.
a little serendipity there.
Yeah,
it was like,
for sure.
Something opened up. It was great.
It did, and it was great.
Right. And so how many years were you there?
On Oahu, well, I mean, we had 2 years on Guam, so I count that as Pacific Isle. Yeah. But I lived in Oahu for about 14 years, something like that.
Yeah, you suffered. You suffered so much being on Hawaiian Island, teaching acting coaching, being an acting coach for TV stars.
I know.
Oh,
I get a lot of
that's
people.
a rough gig, bro.
A lot of people say that. Yeah, and I don't feel guilty at all. It was great. It was great. Both my kids grew up there, and that really was why I moved there, and so it was great. It was great. And
then you came to Portland. What drew you to Portland from Hawaii?
Well, once again, my son was living in Brooklyn at the time because he couldn't get far enough away from us in Hawaii without going 6,000 miles in the opposite direction. Okay. So he talked about possibly moving to Portland, and so I said, let's look at it, and came here about 3 years ago, taught a class just as I was going through. A wonderful actor, Robert Blanche.
I know Robert.
Yeah, really good actor. He went to LA for a while. I think he's back.
He is back. He's with me.
Yeah.
I don't want to say where he's living. I saw him a few weeks ago.
Okay, well then he's, but really good guy. More than being a good actor, he's a really good guy.
He is.
And he promoted a class, and so I came up here and taught once, and at Jana Lee Hamblin's studio, and very nice of her to lend the studio that way.
I know Janet too.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been around Portland, so I
she's
know
a good
almost all of them.
Meisner teacher, and
Right.
yeah, and so I just really kind of liked Portland a lot, and
And your studio's kind of taken off. I'm sure you
my
want to take off
studio's
more, and you people
knock. Is there
listen.
wood
His
under there? No.
website's there.
I won't say it.
Contact him. He'd love for you to come and participate in his acting classes. And I've heard a lot of great things about it from a number of actors I know. So let's talk about your approach. You do a lot with text analysis.
Well,
Not a lot, but you touch on it, which a lot of acting coaches don't.
I do talk a lot about breaking down the script, which is identifying things in the text.
Right.
And so yeah, we definitely do that. We have you know, a 4-step procedure for doing that, and then a few other things that help an actor kind of get right to the meat of something, so they can do what they need to do on camera.
Right, and find out each line sometimes should have an action to it. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
Well, no, I wouldn't say that because I don't believe that. So,
Okay.
but I think that, and by action, if you mean movement, then I think that's really dangerous, because
Okay.
on camera,
No, action as in
going after your objective.
Right.
Yeah, and so, but I don't know that it's you know, divisible by one line.
You use text analysis to help them discover their objectives and then work from there.
And then take action to try to get them. Yeah,
Cool. No,
yeah.
I love it. I love it. Anyway, you also, there's not many coaches who do this, and I'm glad you do. You do exercises before class, warm-ups?
I do some.
Okay.
I think I probably fall into the category of those that don't do enough, and I wish I did more.
But you're saving time for the actors to work, I take
well,
it.
there's so much that I want to do. Yeah, when you say exercises, I have exercises, and then there's warm-up
Okay.
exercises. I don't do enough warm-up exercises.
Okay.
I do plenty of exercises.
Right.
We do exercises like on camera, audition exercises.
Right. Well, we'll talk about
things,
those in a
yeah, all kinds of stuff
So,
like that.
You know, and a lot of people don't realize is that an actor's instrument is their body, and so vocally and physically, you know, you have to be relaxed and warmed up, and or
Yeah.
if, especially on camera.
Yeah,
On stage, you can't really see it, but on camera, it pops off right on the screen.
Yeah, I think you got to be
Attention.
relaxed, and yeah, it definitely applies on camera.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you also teach an on-camera acting technique in your class.
That's
you work on camera.
primarily, yeah.
Really?
Well, we don't work on camera that much. We do,
Okay.
you know, but I don't like to tape too often. I think it makes actors self-conscious, conscious
Mm-hmm.
of themselves, too conscious of themselves.
And on your website, I noticed you talk about eyeline. You're the only second acting coach I've met who talks about eyeline and how important it really is in film.
Yeah, well, you know, eyeline is on camera more important than it would on stage, and a lot of actors don't work enough on camera in like real shoots and like TV shows and major motion pictures, where they're held to a certain standard, where they you know, and if they don't get enough practice at that, then you know, you don't.
And unfortunately in Portland, there's a lot of great TV shows here, but they only get like
4 shows. I mean, that's awesome.
That is awesome, I know,
Yeah.
but you get a co-star or a guest star like every other year or every year. You know,
Not
you're
a
on
guest star that I know of.
Well,
Mostly
you
they're
get-
co-star.
Right,
Mostly.
you're on set for like, what, 3 days? Maybe.
In a year, yeah, if you're lucky.
Right, but there's a lot of independent films, but a lot of the directors
Oh.
don't work that much on eyeline. There's
oh,
some good
yeah.
ones here who do, don't get me wrong, but I don't think there's enough that really do. You also talk with your actors about working on set, which is important because if you're never on set, there's a protocol to be followed.
Oh, yeah, for
And
sure.
and can you talk about that a little bit?
About the protocol.
Yeah,
of
what do you
working on
what do you
set?
do when it comes to working on set?
Well, I mean, actually, I have actually private consultations when people book roles,
Oh,
where
really?
I talk quite a lot about for free. I mean, you know, just because they're going on set. And,
No,
you
I know. I
and
mean,
want
really,
them
it's
to-
great that you
yeah,
do
yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah, no, because and
With
I
your
talk
actors.
about it in class every so often, but I like to be sure that the person that's going for their first real speaking part on a network show has some level of comfort, and it's hard because you get on set, and especially if you haven't at least done some extra work or stand-in work or something to learn your way around set, it can be really really off-putting.
There's like 300
you
people
know?
running
Yeah,
around, and all of them
yeah.
are busy and have a thing to do.
Yeah.
Let's
So,
talk a little bit about, I know her, she won't mind, Rachel
Rachel Oh, Foskett?
Right.
Oh, yeah, sure.
She's been on Grimm twice as two different characters, which is awesome.
She has. I don't know if we're supposed to say that.
Oh,
but,
really?
Oh, no, it's okay. No, it's okay.
She'll love it.
Grimm won't, but she'll love it.
That's okay.
No, she did. No, she totally did.
Oh, I didn't know.
No, it's not. I'm just kidding. I mean, she did. And what are they going to do? Not hire her a third time? No, just.
But here's the thing: is she changed her appearance so well that they did that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She did.
And you coached her in that, I take it.
Well, no, not her appearance. I would never presume to.
But you
tell a
coached her
woman how to
before she
appear.
went there.
But yeah. I mean, she's been my student, and she's a dynamite actress.
Oh, I was actually in
really
a film
good,
with
yeah.
her years ago.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I was. I known her for a while.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it was
I
just
haven't known
wonderful.
anybody here for a while, so.
Okay. You also talk to your actors about understanding editing. And until I started editing, I didn't quite understand why, as an actor, I should know that. But it's very important as an actor to understand why editing is important.
It helps. It helps.
It helps.
It helps a lot, and so not that they necessarily have to know how to edit. Although these days it's really not that difficult. To
not
at
with
least
the tools they
basic.
have.
I mean, to at least cut something together. Basically, it's
Mm-hmm.
not. It's not. But it's more important that they learn because in television, because of the fast pace,
Right.
they got to know what cuts and what doesn't. They have to know what
And
they
television
did
does a
in-
lot of close-ups.
continuity-wise, and they have to know what they can do in close-up and what looks good and what doesn't, and that takes time and training.
Right, and not moving around too much.
Yeah.
Because my eyes flutter like crazy
Yeah,
sometimes.
eyes are a big one. Eyes are the
Yeah.
thing that.
I worked for a long time just talking to people without blinking. I'm sure I was
without
driving them
blinking,
crazy.
yeah, right. That's Michael Caine says. He never blinks. Never blinks.
I watched this video of him one time where it was like he didn't blink for a minute. And it's like,
He really, other than, I will say this, there was one of the Batman movies, and I forget which one, when he was playing Alfred, and I don't know if it was a health thing or what, but I was appalled. I was watching going, he's blinking, and he was blinking all the way through, and I was like, oh, and I thought, oh, he's old, he's going to just not be able to do it anymore. But his next movie, he didn't blink at all in
Yep,
it,
there
and
you
from
go.
then on, I don't know what it was, but that's the only time I've ever, in a movie, seen him,
Well,
frequently
what
blink.
I like is you're preparing these actors in your studio to go on the local television series and be able to navigate through the experience and do a good job with it. Because you also talk about camera blocking in your studio.
Yeah, a
And
little bit.
I know a great actress who got in trouble one time because she's a great actress, but she had a hard time hitting her spots. And that is so key and important in in
my
film.
my wife, who is a professional actress of many years, even though she's very
Janine?
young, Jeannie,
Jeannie, I'm
Jeannie
sorry.
Rogers, and she did a Grimm not too long ago, and like I say, she's been acting forever. I won't say how many years, but a long time. SAG, after Equity, all that, forever, and she gets on set. And she had to do this thing with a branding iron because they're doing a special effect on it, and they had the camera out here, and so they wanted to have the between her and her face. So she had all these complicated lining up things that she had to do while she was supposed to be emotionally threatening her granddaughter, trying to brand her granddaughter's face.
Oh my gosh.
So she's trying to act and at the same time hold everything in exactly the right position for the camera. And I think it was probably one of the hardest things as an actress she's had to do. I'm
Wow.
speaking
I'm,
for
well, I'm
her,
glad
but-
that you worked with them
yeah.
because
Well-
when they get on set, they're going to have to deal with it, and they're not taken by surprise by it. You know,
Well, and that's-
they probably are going to be taken by surprise by it a little bit, but at least they know about it. They're accustomed to it a little bit,
Right.
and they expect it.
And that's what the exercises are for, because you don't know when you're going to have to hold your hand in a weird angle, and you know what I mean, and do something for you don't know what it's going to be on the day. That's the bottom line. And so what we do in class is we try and prepare you for all those things and say, okay, well, let's train you to split your focus so that you can stay focused in the scene and still deal
Do
with
this other
all
stuff.
this other stuff that's happening. You know.
Well, that's great that you work with that because it's
well,
actually a skill set that you have to acquire.
Oh, it is completely, completely.
So you also work with auditioning techniques, so that, and you know what, it must be working because there's a number of actors from your studio that are really booking some jobs here.
which is great. Yeah, which is great to see.
Right.
You get confidence, I think, when you do something and you feel like you see the improvement, you do it well, and then when you go out, you go into the audition with confidence that, everyone always says, you gotta have confidence, go in there confident. You can't actually have confidence unless you have confidence.
Right.
So you can't just go in there and bluster, Yeah,
But if you work
so,
on it and you
then,
practice,
yeah, you have something to have confidence in.
It gives
Yes.
you a little bit more experience. And auditioning is a different skill set completely.
Completely. It's
It
a
is.
different, I tell my students it's a different art.
It is. I know some people who aren't very good actors but can audition really well.
Yeah, and
They get more parts than the ones who
in LA, those are called soap actors, because the soap actors are the really, really good auditioning actors.
Is that right?
Yeah, because their job is so intense. They have to learn so much dialogue in a day.
Oh my
and,
God.
And then shoot that day. They shoot 20, 30 pages, whatever it is. It's crazy.
A
Then and then they go the next day and they got to learn a whole new script that night.
And
So
TV is like regular
they
episodic is 7 pages, and then film is 2.5 maybe.
something like that. Yeah, about that. I mean, on an average, but soaps are by far the longest, and those actors have to make all these quick choices, and it makes them really good at auditioning. But then they don't use the other muscles, so they don't tend to grow in their roles. Sorry, soap actors.
So you work a lot with your actors too on finding obstacles, and a need, and that's important, because if there's not drama or confrontation or an obstacle that they're trying to overcome, it's boring.
So we deal with, when we break down the script, we deal with objectives, obstacles, stakes, and then action, what they're going to do to get their objective.
Right, and to tie into that, you talk about active listening, which is important, because a lot of actors don't listen.
I'll tell you,
They think about their line and how I'm going to say it.
Right. But when you're working on camera, it's actually more important, not as important, more important than the dialogue that you speak. And case in point, I was coaching a young lady that's a recurring role on Hawaii Five-0, and I still work, via Skype with a lot of people.
I hope we have time
there.
to talk about some of those experiences.
But
keep going.
I mean, her big problem was that she wasn't an active listener. She didn't really do that, and the network brass was saying, hey, we want you to take on these heavier story roles, but we don't think you can do it. And we have more emotion and stuff we want to write for you, but we don't think you can cut it. And so we started working, and actually we had about 3 sessions, I think, and she went in. It was all about the listening, and that was what it was. She went in and showed them how well she did by listening to Nano, the character, Scott Kahn's character, say 2 paragraphs at her. And her responses in her mind, her actual listening, is what made the producers say, "Oh my God, that's wonderful." And Scott Kahn said, "Excellent, excellent." So I mean, they noticed. It's nice, But actors don't realize that. They think it's about the lines, even though you hear me say this, that they'll still think. They go to an audition, they put all the effort on the words.
They don't want to mess up a line.
Right.
There is a paranoia with that, and I've got. It took me forever to get over that, and I got over it. So. You also talk about, this is the last thing we're going to talk about your studio, is understanding a business. Actually, it's not the last thing. I got a couple more.
As much as you want about my studio.
Okay, so understanding the business. Because it is a business, and people have to understand that.
Yeah, we actually start every class with about a 20-minute, give or take, discussion on the industry, and I am proud to say that I think my students are the most informed in the city, because of that, because everybody brings in their news, they share it. Nobody's like, I don't want to tell anybody.
Oh, so it's a group discussion.
It's a group discussion, and it's lively. We talk about agents, unions, contracts, audition horror stories, whatever has to do with the business. So it's good.
Okay, all right, so let's talk about teaching. You also teach Meisner, a combination of Meisner and imagination and emotional recall with Strasberg. Is that right? But you also touch on Michael Chekhov, which we don't hear too much about. I only know one acting coach down in LA who did that, and the psychophysical.
So what I teach is
Am I getting you confused?
No.
Clarify
No.
me.
I'm going to clarify, but you're right on the edges of being exactly correct.
Right
there. You're right there. What I do is I have studied Meisner and Strasberg, and
and your wife actually studied
techniques.
with Sandy Meisner, right?
My wife studied with Sandy
Isn't that
Meisner, as
awesome?
did my brother. Yes, so I am surrounded by Meisner actors. What I do, see, all these techniques techniques, Adler and Hagen, and all of them were designed for the stage. Without
Okay.
exception, they were all designed for the stage as the highest form of the art.
Right.
Camera stuff was secondary, and it was a theater technique. So what I've done is I take the parts of the technique that I think apply best to working on camera, and I use them. So I use some of Meisner, I use some of method for sure, Strasberg, and yeah, Chekhov. The best thing that I use from Chekhov in my technique and what I teach is psychological gesture, which is a little bit different, but it's a very specific thing that helps to get you in, and it can be really effective on camera.
All right. Do you help actors discover their type? And if so, how? Because a lot of the actors don't realize that there's a type that you're going to fit into, and you should learn to embrace your type.
And so I agree and disagree. I'm so difficult. I
Okay,
know.
that's all right. You should. I'm having fun here, man.
so
I'm glad
good.
you are
I'm glad.
disagreeing. I'm
I'm
trying
glad.
to. I'm trying to ask the trick questions
That's fine.
here.
No, go for it. I think that there are obviously types that people get hired to play, and but class is also the place where you go to kind of expand what you can play, where you go and you do things that you're not so good at. Right, that you may not have all the confidence in, that you may fail.
But it helps you with your type then later.
But it
right?
gets you better. It gives you a wider comfort zone.
Right. Okay.
And so yeah, you can change your type.
Do you actually find scenes for actors to do, or do they have to find their own?
Well, I do both. I have them find their own. I encourage them to, because I think that they need to read more stories, more plays, more screenplays. It's good for them. I've met very few that read too much, so if any, ever
there's a fact
in
in
history. So I try to get them to do that themselves. But I do recommend things too. When I try and find things that I think that they should be good at for marketability, so they can make money.
Okay, so when it comes to that, do you use TV scenes or film?
I never use TV scenes. I don't like TV scenes.
What about film? Is it
TV
film, or
scenes
do you
are-
actually take actual scenes from plays?
So TV scenes are written by committee. Okay, nobody has ownership, and with the exception of the really good House of Cards or Breaking Bad, those things. But if you're talking about basic network television, no, I wouldn't want them to use those scripts. I let them use feature film scripts and plays, which they can get from this place where they give away plays. Nobody knows about it either. It's kind of a secret. They let you take plays and books for free for a period of time. It's called a library. And they use,
I found, I'm
And so
talking to
then they-
Barry
they
Hunt
bring in
about
their own
in the
scenes.
Boom Boom Room. He may
yeah.
have me audition. I don't know. It was at the library.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
I got it at the
You can
library,
get
Barry.
so
I
many
rented.
plays
I
there,
rented
yeah.
it.
And of course, the reason I really moved to Portland was because of Powell. So you have that too, and they
You
have
have
a
that
lot
too.
of plays too there.
Well, you also have Samuel French close by.
Samuel French.
Yeah, that's who has all the plays, isn't it?
You don't have that in Portland, though.
No, I know. It's
I was
I'm
thinking,
just
did they
kidding.
open a branch? Oh,
No, I think they have one in New York and L.A. and that's
yeah,
it.
no, they have London too. But
Oh, do
yeah,
they?
Yeah, but they closed one in L.A., so now they only have one left.
Right.
But you can get them online there, and that's good too.
They get 'em to you in a couple days.
Plays are the best because the dialogue is written so that it has layers and levels, and it's just so much better written than everything else. Film can be good, and that's fine to use in class, but I don't let
A lot
TV.
of film, they limit it to 3 lines an actor because they want that back and forth. Where in plays, there's some long dialogue sometimes.
you
There's
can't-
small monologues
yeah, you-
and long ones.
Yeah, because everything is communicated through the spoken word in the theater, and
Right.
in film it's through showing them things. The camera shows them things. So so they try. Actually, big stars like Bruce Willis and Clint Eastwood and stuff, they cut their dialogue,
Okay.
so they have less lines.
Yeah.
'cause their
Well, I
acting
read one
is
time,
better.
good actors like a lot of
Less.
dialogue, and great actors like little dialogue.
Well, I'd say stage actors like a lot of dialogue, and film actors like little dialogue.
Right.
Yeah.
I also had an acting, heard this one time. Great actors are believable. Stars make you care. Like Oscar winners. So I thought you ponder that. We'll talk about
I'll
that the
ponder
next
that.
time you're on the show.
Okay.
We've got like 3 minutes or 4 minutes left.
See
Let's
that?
talk
I
about
talk
you
too
a little
much,
bit,
huh?
all right?
Okay.
Let's talk
What about me?
So you actually were an acting coach for 20th Century for Fox Studios for 3 years under an exclusive contract. right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
what TV shows did you were you an
Well,
acting coach for?
well, I was most recently in Hawaii. I was an acting coach for Baywatch, I think I mentioned, and then I was an acting coach for a show called North Shore.
Right.
We had 22 episodes of that.
With Pamela Anderson or David Hasselhoff, or is it with the newer one?
The Baywatch, you mean? Baywatch was a newer one, but then I did the Baywatch movie too, so I got to work with Hasselhoff and Pamela
Oh
Anderson.
gosh,
and,
what a tough gig!
and yeah, and all those guys. The series was not. Yeah.
All right, but you've also been an acting coach with A-list actors and over 3,000 hours on set in motion pictures and television, right?
Yeah, well over. Yeah.
Wow, that's like, years
It's a bunch
worth
of
a year and a
time,
half
yeah.
worth of working
Well,
man's
I mean,
work.
if you really figure it out, it's not that much. I mean, when it's 12 to 14 hours a day, you know what I mean, on a regular basis, it adds up fast.
You're right.
So,
And you've also produced, cast, and directed more than 100 professional productions, written and directed, including TV commercials, right?
yeah,
Correct?
the only thing I've written, were TV commercials, and did that for a while because I think the only way I can keep an audience interested is probably to keep them there for 30 seconds.
Okay, so when it comes to all of that, I take it that you prefer doing the acting, coaching.
Yeah,
Right.
I definitely do. I haven't directed a play in 3 years or so, and so
Right.
I miss that.
You do miss that.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. So if anyone's listening, I would love to direct a play in the greater Portland area.
Right. Have
know.
you ever heard of Fertile Ground?
Yes. I
Okay,
have.
that's where if you get a play, you write it. They look for a director.
I
Get
don't
a
wanna-
hold of Pata.
I can keep you for 30 seconds to write if I write. Okay, a commercial. I can't write a play and keep anyone interested. Believe me.
Okay, so your writing is not
No,
one
that's
of your
my
strong
brother.
suits.
My brother's a writer.
That's right. Your
not
brother
me.
actually
Yeah.
just had another movie, another screenplay written and made into a movie. We're talking about Scott Rogers. We're not going to talk about your brother.
Okay.
But if you got your brother, your wife, your whole family, you're surrounded by a whole acting community. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much. Both my
Entertainment,
brothers,
anyway.
Yeah. Both my brothers are in the business,
Uh-huh.
and my wife and my daughter is a triple threat in L.A.
I was going to say, what is a triple threat?
Triple threat traditionally is someone that sings, dances, and acts equally well.
Oh,
And
really?
I would say my daughter is definitely that.
Is that right? And she's down in L.A.?
She's down in L.A. being an actress and staying away from me, but.
Oh, come on, I don't believe that. You know what? We're actually running out of time here at Portland Film Beat. I want to thank Scott for coming in here and filling us in on his studio. You saw his link to his webpage. I would suggest if you want to get into acting, you go there and find out because he's a triple threat himself. He's looking at me right now, so
Yeah.
I'm in trouble. Anyway, until next time at Portland Film Beat, well, I forgot to thank everybody. I want to thank my wife, who's the producer. I want to thank Ellery Nelson, who's the director. I want to thank the people down here at TVC TV for letting us use their studio. I want to thank the people at PCM TV for letting me use their studio. And until next time on Portland Film Beat, shoot for the silver screen.